This video is brought to you by OpenArt. Link in the description.
January 2025, a quiet night in the French countryside. David Balland, co-founder of one of the world's most trusted cryptocurrency wallet companies, Ledger, was at home with his wife. They had no idea they were being watched. No idea that within hours, their lives would become a nightmare that would shock the entire crypto industry. Because what happened next wasn't just a robbery. It was a message. A brutal, calculated message that sent shockwaves through boardrooms from Silicon Valley to Singapore. This is the story of the Ledger kidnapping, and it's more terrifying than you think. But before we dive in, if you're into real crime stories that expose how criminals actually operate, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe. We cover the darkest corners of fraud, crypto crime, and everything in between. Now, let's get into it. To understand why David Balland became a target, you need to understand what Ledger is. Founded in 2014, Ledger produces hardware wallets, physical devices that store cryptocurrency offline, away from hackers. Think of it like a digital safe that fits in your pocket. And in a world where billions in Bitcoin can vanish with a single phishing link, Ledger became essential. By 2025, Ledger had sold millions of devices worldwide. David Balland, as co-founder, wasn't just wealthy. He was a public figure in the crypto space. His face was at conferences, his name was in articles, and in the criminal underworld, that made him something else entirely. A target. Because here's the thing about cryptocurrency. It's instant, it's irreversible, and it's largely anonymous. For kidnappers, it's the perfect ransom currency. No marked bills, no bank surveillance. Just a wallet address and a transfer that happens in seconds. And the criminals knew exactly who had access to millions. January 14th, 2025. Central France. The attack came without warning. Armed men stormed into the Balland home. David and his wife were overwhelmed before they could react. Within minutes, they were bound, separated, and driven to different locations. The kidnappers weren't amateurs. This was planned, coordinated, professional. But here's where it gets darker. The criminals had done their homework. They knew David couldn't just wire them money from a bank account. They knew crypto transfers require specific access, specific codes, specific devices. So they needed leverage, real leverage. And they were willing to go to unthinkable lengths to get it. The next morning, David's business partner at Ledger received a package. Inside was a ransom demand, 10 million euros in cryptocurrency, and David Balland's severed finger. Let that sink in for a moment. These weren't street thugs making impulsive decisions. This was calculated brutality, designed to send one clear message. Pay, or this is just the beginning. While David and his wife remained in captivity, separated, terrified, with David now mutilated, the clock was ticking. The kidnappers demanded the ransom be paid in cryptocurrency, knowing it would be nearly impossible to trace once it hit the right mixing services and privacy coins. But here's where the story takes an unexpected turn. Ledger's leadership faced an impossible choice: pay the ransom and potentially save David's life, but also fund organized crime and mark every crypto executive as a payday. Or refuse and risk David and his wife's lives. They paid, at least partially. Reports suggest a portion of the 10 million euro demand was transferred to the kidnappers' wallets. But French authorities weren't sitting idle. The moment the kidnapping was reported, France's elite counterterrorism unit, the GINN, was mobilized. These are the same operators who stormed the Bataclan Theater during the 2015 Paris attacks, the same team that handles France's most dangerous hostage situations. and they were now hunting the people who had taken one of France's tech entrepreneurs. The GINN worked with cyber specialists to trace the couple's location. Every phone ping, every digital footprint, every witness statement. Time was critical. David was already injured. Who knew what would happen next? The rescue came days later. GINN operators descended on multiple locations simultaneously. Doors were breached, flashbangs detonated. Within minutes, both David and his wife were freed. They were alive, but David had lost a finger. The psychological trauma would last far longer than any physical wound.
The kidnappers scattered. But here's where cryptocurrency's supposed anonymity started to crumble. French authorities, working with international blockchain analysis firms, began tracking the ransom payments. Every transaction on a blockchain leaves a permanent record. And while the criminals tried to obscure their trail using mixers and multiple wallets, investigators were persistent. Almost all of the cryptocurrency paid as ransom was eventually traced, frozen, and seized. The supposed perfect crime? It left a digital paper trail that led straight back to the perpetrators. But the damage was done. David Balland, a man who helped millions secure their digital assets, had become a victim of the very technology he pioneered. And he wasn't alone. The Balland kidnapping wasn't an isolated incident. It was part of a terrifying trend. In May 2025, just months after Balland's ordeal, the daughter of another French crypto entrepreneur was nearly abducted in broad daylight in Paris. Video footage shows masked men jumping from a fake delivery van. Only quick thinking and bystanders with fire extinguishers stopped it. That same month, another crypto millionaire's father was kidnapped in Paris. He too lost a finger to force his son to pay. In November 2024, the CEO of Canadian crypto firm WonderFi was kidnapped in downtown Toronto during rush hour and forced to transfer $1 million before being released. According to security researchers tracking crypto-related violence, there were 31 physical attacks against known crypto owners in 2024. By early 2025, that number was already on track to more than double. Crypto executives are now hiring bodyguards, installing panic rooms. Some are moving to undisclosed locations and scrubbing their digital presence entirely. Eric Loshevek, Balland's business partner, made a public statement calling for a stop to the Mexicanization of France, referencing the brutal kidnapping industry that has plagued Mexico for decades. He criticized law enforcement for what he called laxity in the face of escalating violence against crypto entrepreneurs. The message was clear. The crypto boom has created a new class of targets, and criminals have noticed. So, what does the Balland kidnapping tell us about the dark side of the cryptocurrency revolution? First, wealth in the digital age has made people vulnerable in ways previous generations never faced. A tech entrepreneur can be worth hundreds of millions, but that wealth exists in a form that can be transferred instantly, under duress. No time to alert banks. No way to reverse the transaction. Just a few keystrokes and millions are gone forever. Second, the anonymity that made cryptocurrency attractive for legitimate privacy has also made it the ransom currency of choice for criminal enterprises. Every Bitcoin billionaire is a potential target. Every blockchain entrepreneur is a name on a list. And third, we're seeing the emergence of a new type of organized crime, one that understands technology as well as the people they're targeting. These aren't street criminals grabbing random victims. They're sophisticated operations conducting surveillance, planning military-style raids, and exploiting the unique properties of digital assets. David Balland survived. He's recovering. But the finger they took? That's permanent. The trauma?
that lasts a lifetime. And somewhere out there, another criminal is looking at another crypto executive's public profile, doing the math on how much they're worth, and planning the next attack. In the world of cryptocurrency, the promise was financial freedom. But for people like David Balland, that freedom came with a price tag written in blood. This is How Crime Works.